Hello everyone, welcome to Bucket List Reviews. My name is Jabran and today we're going to be talking about Film Festival Cologne Part 2. Now I already talked about the first part, so if you haven't seen the video, please click right here. And without any further ado, let's look at the other films I saw at the festival. The first film that I saw at the festival was Werner Herzog's documentary, Lo and Behold, The Reveries of the Connected World. Lo and Behold is yet another documentary by the legendary German filmmaker Werner Herzog, who explores the birth, influence, and quite possibly extinction of the internet and the human race. So if you're familiar with Werner Herzog's other previous films like Augiri Wrath of God or Grizzly Man, he always has a thematic element of man versus nature. But I feel Lo and Behold is a little different from that. It not only focuses on how man is trying to overcome nature, but surpassing it in such a way that we are also surpassing our capabilities. In this documentary, Werner Herzog argues the fact that how internet can surpass human intelligence in such a way that we still cannot comprehend at the moment, like how powerful internet is and what influence it could have in our lives. Now there's a very interesting thing about the film, like how they got the title for the film. It has to do with the first message that was sent through the internet. I think it was brilliant. Now I love the fact that Werner Herzog doesn't focus on the cliche elements of the documentary making. Like he doesn't focus on how the internet can connect everyone. Basically, we all know that. I love the fact that how the documentary focuses on the other aspects of internet. Like for example, how internet could be responsible for curing cancer. He focuses on this technician who creates a video game and puts it online for people to play. And what the players have to do is basically untangle the cancer cells and create patterns from it. There are lots of elements that Werner Herzog talks about, like artificial intelligence and how internet could be influencing it. There's a scene in the film where Werner Herzog goes to UCLA and he talks to the technicians over there, like how one of the technicians has created a robot which has certain kind of AI which not only performs the commands that we give them, but thinks before he creates actions. And I think that's something really interesting. Like apart from the good parts of the documentary, I think there were some 15-20 minutes devoted to a topic which I wasn't really that interested in. And I understand why Werner Herzog wants to create like a balance between the good and the bad of the internet. But I don't think it was necessary for this documentary. Like he could have just focuses on the capacity or the power of how internet could influence our lives without indulging in the good and the bad, I feel. Now another really interesting topic that Werner Herzog focuses on is the colonization of Mars. The founder of PayPal, Elon Musk, basically is in charge of this new development called SpaceX, where they are thinking of different ways of colonizing Mars. Those are the kind of stuff that I really wasn't aware of. This film really changed my perception of what internet could be capable of. Now, as the title suggests, the documentary has a very strong and broad topic that a lot of people who have just seen the trailer wouldn't understand what the documentary is really about. And this is why I highly recommend you to go watch it, because I think it's one of the best documentaries Werner Herzog has ever done. And I'm really looking forward to watching it the second time, because I don't feel I took all the information in my brain the first time I watched this. I want to see it again. It's an awesome documentary. I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. I think it's one of Herzog's best works, so please go watch it. So, the second film that I watched at the festival was It's Only the End of the World, a new film by Xavier Dolan. And those of you who don't know who Xavier Dolan is, he's a young filmmaker from Quebec, Canada. I am a big fan of his work. I've seen all of his previous films, and I was really looking forward to watching this film because his previous films like Tom at the Farm and Mommy are like some of the most brilliant films I've ever seen. And Mommy actually made it in my top 10 list of 2015. After 12 years of absence, a writer goes back to his hometown, planning on announcing his upcoming death to his family. As the resentment soon rewrites the course of the afternoon, fits and feuds unfold, fueled by loneliness and doubt, while all attempts at empathy are sabotaged by people's incapacity to listen and love. So how did I like the film? I actually didn't like the film. I kind of hated it, to be honest, and I was completely surprised and disappointed because I feel Xavier Dolan is such a major talent right now in the world of cinema. Now, what exactly was wrong with the film? I think the actors were completely wasted. I felt the scenes stretched on too long. I thought the dialogue was badly written. You had such big names in the cast like Vincent Cassel, Maria Coutier, Léa Seydoux, and like some of the best French actors you'll find right now, and they were given such little substance to work with. I felt completely disappointed and sad for these actors. Let's look at the plot of the film. The plot is very similar to all of Dolan's other films, like a man coming back home, he has some mommy issues, and he's trying to cope up with this new situation, but it's emotionally destroying him. I think all of these elements are there in his previous films. I think what Dolan is good at is how he executed those stories. Most of the scenes of this film are just people shouting at one another. It's like screenwriting 101. Like if you have every scene where actors are shouting at one another, then there's no climax to the drama. Every scene of the film is trying to be the climactic, dramatic element of the film. And every dialogue felt stretched and overdone. This is one of the basics of filmmaking, because film, I feel, is a very visual medium, and you need to show rather than tell people how to feel. I think I was really annoyed by the visual element of this film, because a lot of the scenes are just close-up of the first actor, close-up of the second actor, close-up of the first actor, second. And I understand what Dolan is trying to do here. He's trying to create claustrophobia within the frame of the camera. I think there are a lot of more clever ways to do it. Like one of my favorite filmmakers of all time is Werner Fassbinder. The way he framed his scenes were incredible. Like he didn't use close-ups a lot of times. Like he shot through the frame of the door where the two actors felt like they're trapped. I thought that's a very clever way of showing isolation and claustrophobia in film. If he had just spent a few more weeks on it, I think this could have been a much better film. One of the key elements of Dolan's filmmaking is the soundtrack, like how he uses pop songs from the 80s or 90s to the level where you actually forget that you're listening to the song, but it becomes so enticed within the scene of the film. In this film, it didn't work actually. I just felt like all of the songs like just came at me, like they punched me right directly in the face, and I couldn't stop thinking about the song rather than watching the film. Apparently this film won Grand Prix at the Cannes Film Festival. I really don't think this film deserved it. I don't know what Cannes was thinking, but it has some good elements, like a little bit of flashback scenes are very nice, and you have the actors actually trying to make something of the film, and I appreciate that. But overall, this film was a huge disappointment to me, and I'm just gonna give it 2 stars out of 5. If you want to watch good, brilliant Dolan films, like watch Tom at the Farm or Mommy, I think those are some of his most brilliant works, so watch those instead. Yeah, so the last film I saw at the festival was Hirokazu Korieda's film After the Storm. And I think this is the second film that he's released this year. The first one is Our Little Sister. After the Storm is actually one of the most brilliant films I've seen this year. The film is about a has-been writer who is now working at a low-level detective agency and trying to mend his relationship with his ex-wife and son. As the synopsis suggests, I think it's a very simple film and not unlike any other Korieda film. Now, those of you who are familiar with this work, Korieda is highly inspired by the master filmmaker of Japan, Yasujiro Ozu, because both of them focuses on like the slice of life kind of stories. Like it's as if someone took like 3 months of your life and put it on film. It's kind of undramatic, but in a good way. Like it doesn't need to be dramatic to tell a good story. I think the key element of Korieda's brilliance is that how he creates such wonderful, mesmerizing scenes and still be so undramatic about them. Like the characters, every one of his characters is so interesting that I could totally relate to them. And the main character of the film is apparently a man who's like really down on his luck. Everything is falling apart for this guy, and you kind of help but feel sorry for him. The visual aspect of it is still amazing. Like Korieda doesn't move his camera that much, and you kind of let the whole visual aspect of the film soak in. I mean, those of you who haven't seen Korieda's previous films, like I would highly recommend you to watch Nobody Knows. I think that's his masterful, brilliant work. I think one of the key talents that Korieda has is how the characters are the center of the story, and the visual takes a backseat. The narrative takes a backseat. It's the characters that you fall in love with and you want to spend time with. This film was around 2 hours long, but I could have spent like 3 hours long and wouldn't have made any difference to me, because I just love these characters. If I have to nitpick about this film, it might be actually the main character of the film, because not that there was anything wrong with the character, but I felt the actor overplayed his part a little bit. Like he felt too a little too corny at times. You have this one scene in the film. His son is like in the urinal and he's like peeing. He comes and starts peeing next to him. And he peeks and he looks at his son's private parts and he goes like, "Oh my, you've grown." And I just felt like, oh wow, no father would ever say that. That's extremely creepy. On the other hand, the main actress who plays the ex-wife, not only she's extremely beautiful in my opinion, but she did an amazing job. You know, the worst part of reviewing a Koreeda's film is that his films are so good that you don't know what to say in the review. Like, his films are meant to be seen to be believed. He's such a pure talent, I feel. Like, he doesn't need to disguise, you know, like he doesn't need to show you what a great director I am. He pushes the record button and just lets his talent be depicted visually. After the Storm is actually one of the most amazing films of this year, and probably is gonna make it on my top 10 films list of 2016. I have to give this film a 4.5 stars out of 5. It's amazing, go watch it. So, thanks for watching the review. If you like it, please click on the subscribe button. And if you have any comments regarding the films that I talked about, please write in the comment section below. And yeah, we'll see each other next time. So, ciao!